talking about the Metaverse and Web 3, traversing the world, setting the world up for a new start. Well, let's see. The man who's going to tell you more about that is Emanuel Erdem, who is the head of Metaverse, Exclusible, who is responsible for this particular subject and the technology around it. Ladies and gentlemen, where's he gone? There he is. He's here to take you through your first panel. So give him a round of applause. Emanuel, to the stage.
Thank you. Thank you for the great intro. So, before I show you what we do on the Metaverse, I would like to give you a little bit of background to who we are. We started 1.5 years ago as a luxury marketplace for digital assets, so-called NFTs. We did that quite successfully. More than 14 drops in a year. That's a very high pace. So we brought Web 2 brands into Web 3. Among others, you can see them here. But very quickly, we started looking into the Metaverse. And back during the hype, February 2022, we bought one of the biggest plots of land, $1.8 million on a world called the Sandbox. And we built 2 projects there selling luxury digital real estate. And then we looked into another platform called Spatial, and we also built luxury penthouses there that we sold in total $5.7 million worth of digital real estate. So the Metaverse started becoming a very important topic for us. And also many brands came to us and they wanted to enter this new space. And so it was very important for us to build a team, a Metaverse. A Metaverse team, and we bought a studio called Polycount. They're based in Texas, and today we can build any immersive experience, any use case. And together with them, we have an extensive track record of more than 200 Metaverse activations in the past 2 years. We have built on more than 25 different platforms. And if you look today, we go beyond luxury. We serve more than 30 Fortune 500 companies, and also government entities, universities. In a nutshell, today we became a Web3 one-stop shop and Metaverse shop. So we can do any activation and bring any Web2 brand into this new fascinating space. But first, can anyone here in one sentence explain to me what is the Metaverse? I think if we ask 10 different people, we will have 10 different definitions of the Metaverse. And many times the Metaverse is associated with different technologies, AI, AR, VR, Web3, crypto, NFTs. But it's very important that you align with me on how we see the Metaverse. And it's very simply, it's the next evolution of the internet, which is this 3D internet. You have a world, a virtual world, that you can enter with a web browser thanks to an avatar. And then you can engage, interact, experience it, and then you have 3D assets. So if we look at the virtual world, before it was your 2D website, and today you can have the same website where you invite your customers to digest content in a more immersive way. Same for your identity. The profile pic from Facebook, the PFP, today it can be your avatar. And same goes for the digital assets. So why should you go, this is all nice, right? But how and why should you go into the Metaverse? Let me give you some figures. In 2018, more than 60% were under 13. But today it's only 21%. So if you look at the numbers, I think everyone here in the next 5 years will spend a few hours of your time in the Metaverse, in immersive virtual worlds. And if we come back to some of our use cases at Exclusible, we know that on average, users spend 10 minutes in these immersive spaces. If you compare it to a conventional website, 1 minute, that's times 10. So utilizing this time that your customers spend in these virtual worlds, how do you engage with them in a meaningful way? How do you create meaningful experiences? That's what I'm going to show you with a few examples right now. So one way to do that is to connect first physical to virtual, physical to virtual. And one example that I can give you here is what we did with Shaloub-owned brand Lanvin. So basically the sneaker, the owners, the buyers, they could then claim a digital collected wearable on Decentraland. Another way is here, for example, we took a retail brand, American Rag, that we created an immersive website for them. We created a shop. You can interact, you can engage, connecting there with your avatar. You enter the space, you see the assets, and then you can interact with the 3D assets, and you can even then click on it, and you would get a QR code that leads you to an AR filter that you then can see in real life the size of the product. Here, in this case, a sneaker. And then you would even have the option to convert your customer to buy the asset, the item. And this is something we already do. This is already available. And if you do it in a smart way, if you take your website in a more immersive way, we know statistically that it increases conversion rates to almost 50% for your products and solutions. So another use case would be Metaverse connecting with NFTs in a fun way, in a way to reward your customers and audience and incentivize them. And one example is here that we did with one brand, Havaianas. It's a showroom, so you invite your audience to join on the web browser on any mobile device. You can be immersed in the universe of the brand, see the values, the history. And then what we did is that we connected a digital claimable. You can click on an asset there, imagine. You can now give them, the users that enter, a membership pass. It's a new way to create a community. And thanks to this digital collectible, which is an NFT, the technology behind that, you don't need to be Web3 savvy. You just connect with your email, Gmail, or Facebook account. In the backend, there's a wallet and an NFT. But now you can utilize as a brand and company Web3 technologies to re-engage with this, I would call not customer anymore, but community member, because now you can create a community with them, because you can engage completely new direct ways. You can link perks to these NFTs. You can give them token-gated access to e-commerce, exclusive. You can give them token-gated access to new immersive spaces. And you also can generate drive-to-store. Or you can send them merchandise, for example. And imagine now, if on top of this immersive space, you add gamification elements. We know that gamification increases engagement by 48%. So take the 10 minutes that on average users spend in this immersive space, you create gamification elements, you create incentive mechanisms to create a community. Now you have a real opportunity as a brand to portray your values, to portray your identity, the history, and to convert them in a completely new way. Now the last use case, an example I would like to share with you is Loyalty 3.0. It's Web3 loyalty. It's a new way to engage with your audience thanks to NFT technologies. One company who's great at doing it, and they are kind of a front runner, is Starbucks. You might have heard about their loyalty program, Odyssey. We did the same. We did the same with an app, but we added other elements on top of it, which make it even more innovative, utilizing also the metaverse. But here in this example, let's say you claimed a digital membership pass from Chaloup Group's Level Shoes. Now you have access to this dashboard. You as a brand now can incentivize these community members, now or fans even, by giving them new rewards, new ways to claim digital collectibles. You can gamify the whole experience. You can create concerts where you invite them. You can have treasure hunts, or you can have scavenger hunts where these fans have to go through immersive experiences to learn about your brand and company. And here in this example, so this is how you could, through the app, enter an immersive space. You entered the space, you fulfilled the experience, and you will get, we can call this a proof of completion, a new collectible. And so you collect more and more, and you, as a brand and company, can engage on a completely another level. So we can do many other things. I try to give you today examples of how to create immersive experiences for commerce, for retail. Of course, there are hundreds of other use cases also in the metaverse. And at Exclusible, we can build any experience in the metaverse. We can bring any company into this new world. So that's it for today. Do we have time for questions? Because if that's the case, happy to answer questions. And also, please feel free to scan my QR code to my LinkedIn. Let's connect.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for that very informative session. It was really nice. A guy like me is relatively old school, so pardon my ignorance. My questions may seem a little, duh, don't you get it? So I have two questions. Number one, the gaming population globally is 1/3 approximately of the total web users. So you're talking about a 1:3 coefficient. So for every gamer, which is a subset of the web users, the active web users are, so it's 1 against 3. I think it's approximately 37%. My question to you is, the experience that you showed here is primarily skewed to, it's a very gaming-like experience. I mean, whatever you have, the virtual augmented reality, whatever it is, inside the stores. And since you've done projects with brands or retailers, I wanted to ask you, what has been the ROI from doing something like this in terms of, I mean, you can look at it in different ways, as a percentage of, the business that was actually generated against the spend that would cost a company to build something like this. Just simple math. What sort of ROIs can, say, hypothetically, say a consumer product group would be, say a footwear retailer, say a Nike or a, I don't know, Adidas, whatever. What sort of ROI? Do you have any metrics which can confirm that, in terms of what is the ROI generated? I mean, this is the buzzword. This is what marketeers are looking at very closely. But is there any documented case studies? Are there any verified metrics, that this sort of an exercise has, generated? And the second question, of course, is an offshoot of the first one, where I want to understand, do you see this as a limiting function for industries where, the look, touch, and feel, for the product is very important, and no virtual experience, can replace that. So these are my two questions,
Yes, so first question is about whether there are metrics to actually justify ROI to enter into the metaverse as a brand. Is that correct? So it's a very new new world, and therefore there are not many KPIs, let's say, to track this. I showed some of the actually KPIs that we know, such as time spent, we know conversion rates, and then in the end I would say it's really in the hand of the brand and company to make something out of this technology that is meaningful. Because you can create an event in the metaverse and no one will go there. But it's the same in the real world. You can create an event and no one will come. It's in your hands to make something out of it. The technology is there to enhance the physical and tangible. I don't think that the metaverse will replace the physical world. It will enhance it in a way or another. So I have some metrics of how many users spend on average an immersive space. As I mentioned, 10 minutes. We know conversion rates, retention rates. So I would say combining these different elements in a smart way, and then also the kind of build, because there are hundreds of platforms that you want to build on these platforms, the cost behind, that's something that you need to evaluate.
Can I ask a quick question? Sorry to interrupt
Yes.
you. We are running a little bit behind, a lot behind time. You guys can probably connect off stage and answer the questions, if that's all right with you, Emmanuel.
It's fine for me.
Thank you very much. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but Emmanuel, great presentation, great way to start the day, and thank you very much, sir.